So hello, you're welcome to Meadowlands. This is the end. This is the end of the World Cup diary. It's the end of the World Cup story. The New York songs are starting to belt out here. There are still some Spanish players celebrating on the pitch with their families, various members of staff. Eventually, Gianni Infantino and Donald Trump and co have left the stage after what was like a strange World Cup final day. I'm always very conscious of complaining about, this is a sort of a privileged ticket to be at this event. And really today, actually, as much as, look, the presence of Trump has created all sorts of security situations and queues for everyone who was here, workers, hospitality people, media, etc. The most probably unsatisfying part of the day, really, if you step back from it and forget about any of those annoyances, is that this is probably the most lucrative football game in history in terms of the ticket prices. And for the people who have paid thousands of dollars to be at this game, it hasn't quite delivered. It hasn't really been, I suppose the last World Cup final, Argentina-France, set such an impossibly high bar. And maybe in the aftermath of that, the talking point would have been, well, finals aren't normally this good. I guess, we probably got back to an extreme form of back to basics today. Listen, it wasn't a terrific final, but I do think in the passing of time that will be forgotten, and the ultimate legacy of this World Cup will be that the best team won it. And I guess that is a satisfying outcome, as much as the emotion afterwards with Lionel Messi in tears. It's obviously there's a somber element to that, maybe not as pronounced because at least he did get his World Cup 4 years ago. But obviously, I think as the game came closer, there might have been a feeling when the most romantic story was Messi doing it again. I think as the game progressed, there was a shortage of romance about the concept of Argentina winning the thing. No shots on goal with 11 men on the pitch. It's hard to feel a huge amount of sympathy for them, and probably didn't carry themselves tremendously afterwards. But there you go. I think as a day overall, one of the feelings coming into this competition would have been, and it would have been a conversation early on that I had with some people in Dallas, that ultimately, look, New York is, in my view, like an amazing city to come and visit. It's obviously the greatest city in the world in the eyes of a lot of people, and probably the most glamorous place in terms of the weekend to have the final. Probably just not the best facility, and I think that influenced the football, never mind the logistics, which were a little bit of a nightmare. But I think even just the fact that you have the sunny weather, ironically enough, the air-conditioned stadiums, as much as there's an unnatural element to it. We've had some good games of football in those stadiums during the competition. I think you could see the exertions of the competition probably catching up with Argentina today, and they just decided to be ultra cynical maybe not saying off the back of it, maybe that was only their strategy, but I don't think they had anything left to give, so they just tried to spoil the game, and it worked to a point, but it didn't work overall. But yeah, there's always a sadness when the World Cup reaches the end. I'm lucky this is my 5th one now, and it still is it is an intoxicating ticket. I think just from capturing people's opinions at home, I think it just grabs people for the month, longer than a month this time. It's 6-7 weeks away. I do miss my family, but there is that sense that it just becomes a part of the fabric of your everyday routine, even though it's going to be fleeting. And yeah, I think this one, look, I think obviously probably the final we saw probably some of the more unsavoury aspects of this competition, maybe some of the aspects that we probably feared coming out here that would be dominant in terms of the politicking, and again maybe some of the long queues and the less than ideal experience for everyone attending the game. That hasn't been a problem throughout the competition at all, really. A handful of experiences today. Yeah, not terrific in that respect. But again, as I said, I think, there's thousands upon thousands of people who visited this competition who are going to leave with memories that will stick with them. It was well hosted. as much as within that there was imperfections. But as I sort of made the point in this preview piece on Sunday, that the real atmosphere of this World Cup has been around the cities. It's not necessarily always been in the stadiums. We have that corporate, manufactured FIFA aspect, which was obviously taken to another level today with the halftime show. Started off well with Ronaldinho and Ronaldo in the buggy with Madonna. Went a bit south from there. And look, I don't think we'll see that in 4 years' time. I don't know if we'll see hydration breaks in 4 years. 4 years' time might be actually more of a need for them, ironically, with the heat in some of the stadiums. I think there's a lot of elements of this World Cup that were built for this World Cup, and the sight of Gianni Infantino running across the stage after Donald Trump during the presentation is almost like a nice microcosm of how FIFA probably conducted itself in that regard with it. But I do think still within that, the World Cup in America and Mexico and Canada also contains some of the best traditional elements of the World Cup, with just the mingling, with the interaction of fans, with the fusion of personalities and characters, and the fact that pretty much every competing nation had a fan base because of the nature of the diaspora that live here. So I mean, that actually was a positive element of it. But beyond that, I don't know. I was trying to think of a way to wrap this, and I thought I might look back to some predictions I did in the column before the tournament. It was almost 7 predictions of what maybe the Irish angle, what the Irish themed talking points of it would be. I want to see how they would age now. That's a mixed bag. I think the first one was suggesting that people will realise how amazing the Pico Lopez story was. I think that one probably delivered. There were so many elements in Pico's story, naturally, the LinkedIn stuff, which you can't avoid, but it is part of it. How he was recruited, the fact he came to professional football late in life. And look, he was thriving at the World Cup. He kept a clean sheet against Spain. No other defence did that. So look, that's an obvious one. Bit of a sort of I think I made the point that a shock in the competition would be regretted. I'm not sure if that actually came through. Normally there's a situation in the tournament where you have, that I wish, that was great in the moment, but that has deprived us of a game. I think we had the 4 teams in the semi-final that you wanted. Yes, maybe along the way, Brazil beating Norway, in hindsight, could Brazil-England have been an event in Miami? Paraguay beating Germany would have given us France-Germany, but overall, that hasn't really been a thing. Another point was about, would there be a moment where you'd be glad that Ireland weren't there? Which again was a comment on the basis of the, the fears around security in America today. That was wrong. I don't think there hasn't been a single moment out here where I haven't thought I wish Ireland were in it. And another follow-on from that was there'll be more moments when you will wish that Ireland were here. Apologies. And for me, like that first game between Czechia and Korea and Guadalajara, I wasn't at it, but I was watching it, and the empty seats, it still stings. I think that will sting. The reminder is there, this World Cup and how amazing it can be, how it grabs a country that's not in it. Imagine what it's like again to be in it. 24 years, it's been too long, and that needs to focus the minds to get things right. And at least the next major tournament from a European perspective, Ireland should be there. And you might get to experience some of those hosting moments that those nations have had. Beyond that, I did have something in about how the Joseph and Nang participation from a St. Pat's point of view might start a trend in 4 years' time of League of Ireland clubs signing players that will play in World Cups for compensation. And Nang didn't really get much airtime. He didn't play, but we could see more of that in the future. Definitely. The last 2 was that the Ronaldo story would be a source of exasperation. Well, look, that delivered. Although, I suppose the Ronaldo thing, it wasn't as overpowering as it was in the Euros, because I think it was more a case that the stars were so good, as opposed to maybe the players that underperformed, absorbing the attention. It was a tournament of the stars, really. Although, ironically, as much as, Rodri, the understated player of the tournament, maybe in contrast with the Billboard competition. And the last point I had is that England would be the most engaging story from an Irish perspective, and I guess it was. I think, the Pico thing obviously compares, but look, I'm referring to a previous point. It obviously is maybe living vicariously through the ebbs and the flows of the English emotions. I'm sure viewership figures will reflect that the English interest was huge. And they possibly would have contributed to a better final today, although, that Argentina moment on Wednesday in Atlanta is one that will live with me, I must admit. But again, Ireland needs to create its own football moments rather than piggybacking on the disappointment of others, even if sometimes that is still enjoyable. But listen, the whole World Cup's been enjoyable. We've done a lot of diaries along the way. I've caught up with a lot of various people along the way. I want to thank them all for giving me their time. And we've had Sean O'Connor out here as well, across the competition, along with staff at home, putting these videos out, which is much appreciated. But that's a wrap. It's time to go home. It's time to leave America. And the show will go on. And hopefully there's World Cup stories in the future that are built around Irish involvement.